Hello, I'm Mark Crosby of Quincy Access Television. Thank you for joining us for In the Know, a program that helps you to stay informed and keep up to date with today, especially all the news surrounding the coronavirus, the COVID-19 outbreak. Joining me to talk about how this has affected the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office is Norfolk County Sheriff Jerry McDermott. Jerry, welcome.
Mark, thanks so much for having me. I know these are difficult times, so it's great to be able to share some information.
It is, and I want to extend my appreciation for you accepting the invite to do this program here today. Let's start, if we could, by talking about adjustments that have been made in the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office as a result of the outbreak.
Going back to early March, we were talking about doing some additional cleaning and sanitizing just to try to get ahead of the spread of this virus. At that time, many people didn't realize to the extent how rapidly the COVID-19 virus spreads. But quickly thereafter, we began sending non-essential staff home, and we started to stop any contact visits at first, and then we stopped all visits completely. The reason we did that, Mark, is we didn't want visitors coming up to see inmates who could then be unwittingly bringing the virus into our facility, and it would run rampant through here like wildfire. So we really did a good job. I have to credit my team at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office. All of the staff really stepped up to the plate with the sanitizing and cleaning, and that's really been our best defense to date, keeping the virus out of here. All but one, we have one case, one employee who last worked on March 20th. And that person was non-symptomatic when they were here, but then about March 24th started to have aches and fever. She's doing fine. She's at home. So thank God she's doing okay, but there was no spread. There was no community spread. So we've been very fortunate. And to date, as we do this interview, we've had 0 cases of COVID-19 in the jail or house of correction with our inmates.
Good. Very good to hear. Yeah, certainly a lot of people are learning as they go with something like this, and it really has been a learning experience for all involved.
Yeah, it really has. And we began temperature checks with our staff, with all of our medical, our food service, and our custody and security staff, our essential employees. We got their buy-in early on. I began daily phone calls with the 3 union presidents, and they've been terrific, very cooperative. And we just felt that these are the steps that we know we can take at the House of Correction. So with employee screening, we've asked the questionnaires that the CDC and DPH have asked, do you have any fever, chills, aches, dry cough, any tightness or respiratory issues? Have you traveled to some of those hot spots? And then we do a daily forehead scan with an infrared thermometer. If somebody's 99.9, they get sent home to self-quarantine for 14 days. So really, we've been fortunate, but everybody stepped up to the plate. And we're looking at DPH guidelines, Mark, and CDC. And then, like most people, when you watch the news, you hear little nuances from different health officials. So you might think you're following exactly CDC and DPH guidelines, and then a doctor with the World Health Organization might throw out a new nugget of information, and you say, well, we're not doing that yet.
Right.
But we're trying to err on the side of caution, and really out of an abundance of caution, we're pushing now that all staff utilize the PPE, the personal protective equipment that we have. Sadly, we don't have enough N95 masks for all of our staff, and we certainly don't have enough for all of the inmates, but we have several hundred surgical masks. We have plenty of gloves, but we're waiting on an order of 2,000 N95 masks. And every day we call and say, can we come pick up the shipment? There's always a reason we can't, because they're back ordered. And we understand there's been tremendous pressure on 3M and other manufacturers for these N95 masks. And we understand that our hospitals come first. Well, we have medical staff here too. And we have corrections officers that are on the front line. So we need that protective equipment as well.
And a lot of folks have actually been making masks themselves and donating those. Yeah. And they might not be surgical quality, but any covering at this point does help.
Something's better than nothing, right? So Just coming in to work this morning, one of the presidents of the union and I were chatting, and he's got a cloth mask that I think he said his girlfriend's mother made him.
Okay.
Everybody's into this. I mean, what else are folks going to do at home, right? A lot of folks are getting creative because they're at home with the stay-at-home advisory, but they're really putting their time and their talent to good use, making masks for their community, for friends and family that are in the medical profession, and for friends and family that are firefighters, police, corrections officers. So it's really, this has really brought out the best, I think, in a lot of people. And we are going to get through this together. I think that the best message I could share with folks in Norfolk County is that we can't let fear spread faster than the virus.
Right.
We are going to get through this together. There is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to have a vaccine. It might be 8 months to 12 months away, but we will have a vaccine for this. But in the meantime, you can't just focus on the bad news. We hear the death toll every day across the country and around the world, but nobody talks about the number of people who have had the COVID-19 virus, tested positive, and lived. So, for example, you might hear 7,000 people died in a particular country. They don't talk about the 300,000 people that got COVID-19 and lived. So it is frightening. It's not a joke. This virus is scary, but at the same time, we can't dwell on the negative all the time. We have to have calm, steady leadership during a crisis like this. And I think it's so important for all of us in the community to play our part with social distancing, washing your hands, really doing everything you can not to be a carrier and a spreader of this virus. But we'll get through this.
And as you said, I mean, things do change on a daily basis. The latest information, I believe, came out as early as yesterday, where folks, or even possibly the day before, where all folks should wear some kind of protection, some kind of mask. It's encouraged, I should say, for them to do some kind of coverage.
It's good common sense. I know, for example, in Israel, the Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu said, you can't leave the home without a mask. In the city of Boston, they've got very strongly encouraging, I should say, that if you leave the house, you should put a mask on. We're doing the same. I'm doing, as a dad, I'm telling my two daughters, even if you take the dog for a walk, you could run into neighbors who also are walking their dog, and your natural inclination, because we're sociable creatures, you want to go over, the dogs want to get next to each other, you want to converse with your neighbors, just put the mask on, because you never know, you could be COVID-19 positive and not feel the symptoms,
right,
and pass that on. So that's why it's so important. And I'm glad you brought that up, Mark. Everybody should do their part by just wearing some kind of protective mask. And if you don't have an N95 rated mask, as you mentioned, a cloth mask will do. I've seen people taking out their old winter ski gear and putting their ski masks on over their face.
Sure.
So whatever you have, we should employ it.
I do want to bring to light a story just from a few days ago regarding Massachusetts' highest court ordering the release of some inmates due to the coronavirus. Could you talk about that?
Sure. So that was back about April 3rd. The Supreme Judicial Court ruled that pretrial detainees, pretrial inmates, these are folks that were arrested, arraigned, and they're waiting for their judgment day, if you will, in court. We're holding them as pretrial inmates, and we're doing that across 14 counties. There's 14 county sheriffs, plus the State Department of Correction. Now, the ACLU and CPCS, which is the Criminal Defense Attorneys, they petitioned the courts and said that basically all jails are petri dishes. They're not clean. It would be inhumane to let the inmates be trapped and have COVID-19 break out. I understand their concern, but as we mentioned early on in our interview, we've had 0 cases here at Norfolk County. We've had 0 cases of COVID-19 positive for our inmate population. Our inmate population are part of our cleaning and sanitizing routine every day. They come out of their cells after breakfast. We have them cleaning and sanitizing. We've given them full bars of Dial antibacterial soap. So we're teaching them good hygiene. And we've really said to them, this is a partnership right now. We don't want this virus to infiltrate our facilities. Let's keep it out of here. the same can't be said on the outside. Norfolk County has seen a lot of death. And 97% of our inmates, Mark, when they leave the county facility, 97% of those inmates return to the communities from which they came. So are they safer in here right now, riding out this storm, riding out this virus? Or should we have them out in the community where, if they don't have family reunification, if they don't have family or friend will take them in, they're going to end up couch surfing, they're going to end up homeless, going to homeless shelter. Probably 80% of our men have a dual diagnosis of mental health issues plus addiction issues. So if they go out and they relapse, now it's on all the 28 police departments, fire departments, EMS to respond to those calls, right, if they overdose, and take them to overburdened emergency rooms. So it's really a problem. If you really care about this at-risk population, these inmates, why would you have them out in the streets right now unless they have a proper plan in place? And I'll tell you that on the inside, Mark, they're getting excellent medical care, mental health. They can do AA and not only AA, but Narcotics Anonymous classes online, just as we're talking now. They have the services they need. They have a month and a half supply of food and toiletries, including precious toilet paper. And so,
Right.
some of the inmates are saying,
a hot commodity.
the hot commodity. Some of the inmates are saying, but Sheriff, we want to get out. And I said, well, I know you want to get out. I said, but I can tell you from my own experience, going to the supermarkets right now, trying to find the essentials, it's not so easy.
Right, true.
And they have everything they need right now in this facility, and they're getting good care. So as you can tell, I totally disagree with the petitioners who sued us and were advocating they wanted a lot of inmates out. They wanted what they called a mass release of inmates during this crisis. It just makes no sense.
Just talk about, in keeping with that, the morale of the inmates. I mean, they're hearing all about pretty much anything. You turn on the TV and you can't get away from the news of COVID-19.
It's true, Mark. So we've gone around to all the housing units. I go around daily. My superintendent and assistant superintendents, plus all the officers are great at giving information and keeping things calm. What we talk about in jail is the climate, right? We don't want the climate to get too hot because that's when fights break out between the inmates or they could assault an officer. So we feel that we should be over communicating during this crisis, and that's what we're doing. And as I go around and talk to the inmates, for the most part, they're calm. Some of them get a bit anxious when they hear from a loved one on a telephone call that things are so bad on the outside. They are afraid, like everybody's afraid right now. But what we've done is we've given the inmates 3 envelopes and 3 stamps a week so they could write to loved ones for free. We've given them additional free telephone calls to talk to loved ones. And I actually had one gentleman, his dad is in Italy, big, tall guy, strapping guy, an inmate, and he came over and he said, Sheriff, I just want to call my dad. I want to know if he's okay. So, you know what? Just because they came to jail doesn't mean they stop being human. I get the guy on the phone. We gave him the call so he could call home to Italy, make sure his dad is okay. So we're doing everything we can. We're doing right by the inmates to make sure that they're getting the information accurately. But when they hear that in any one day there's 15 dead in Norwood, there's 6 dead in Quincy, and then we explain to them that we're doing solid right here in Norfolk County House of Correction, this might not be the time that you want to start couch surfing and going out into the community. Because trying to find AA meetings and NA meetings out in the community, trying to get on unemployment, trying to call Mass Health right now, phone lines are flooded. You might not get a live person for days or weeks or months right now until essential workers are back. So it's really, I don't think it was from a public health or public safety perspective a well thought out plan by CPCS and the ACLU, and we'll see what happens. I can tell you our numbers, Mark. We think that a week from now we'll have 50 fewer inmates than we do right now. And now where they go without a plan, without family reunification or a sober home that will take them, I think this is just going to be tragic for some of them.
We're talking about wellness too. Talk about the programs, the community programs that the Sheriff's Office offers. I'm thinking specifically of the Are You OK program, popular program, and folks will in just a moment get to see how that system operates. But that is still in operation.
Absolutely. So the Are You OK program, and I can hold up a flyer. You might be able to capture it. In essence, it works like this. If you're a senior citizen and you'd like to get a daily phone call between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., just checking on you to say, are you okay? You can press 1. If not, you can press 2. This program is a free program. It's a partnership between Fallon Ambulance Service and the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office. And folks can have it every day of the week, or they may only want it, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll customize the time between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. We only ask that you have a backup person, Mark. So, for example, if I'm a senior and I live alone, I may designate my grandson or granddaughter to be my backup person. That daily phone call comes to me. If I don't answer at the allotted time, they can check with my backup person to see if maybe I forgot it. Did I have a hair appointment or a dentist appointment or something? We'll call back a second time. If that person does not answer the phone, we work with first responders. We'll dispatch somebody to the home to do a wellness check. And in the 15 months I've been sheriff, we've had about 7 saves where people have fallen. One woman fell, broke her wrist, landed on her other arm so that she couldn't get, with her body weight, she couldn't get her hand to the phone to call. We've had people get into the bathtub in the evening, sadly. One woman was in a tub for 11 hours before we got her. But we saved, she was saved as well. So it's really a peace of mind program where just that extra phone call to say, are you doing okay? Are you okay? Yes or no? And it's free. So besides the seniors who love it, their kids and their grandkids love it because somebody's there checking on Nana and Papa when they can't physically be there themselves.
And this program has been in existence for quite some time.
It has been. My predecessor, former Sheriff Michael Bellotti, along with Cheryl Bambury, outstanding, by the way, Cheryl, and I think they started this program close to 20 years ago now. And what we've been trying to do is really get out there and market it so that we could drive the numbers up. And when this crisis hit, I thought, this is the time where with social distancing and people can't go over to Nana or Papa's house and visit them, at least they know they're getting that phone call. So I have to put on my spectacles here, but I can get you that number, Mark.
I do, and I have my glasses close by too.
Yeah.
Every day now, I need them more and more.
Yeah. So for the viewers that are interested in signing up for the Are You OK program, it's 1-866-900-7865. It's 1-866-900-7865. And again, it's a free program, the Are You OK program. I know that you may actually have some footage at Fallon Ambulance with Cheryl Bambury working alongside. But it's just a great program, and we strongly encourage folks to sign up for that.
Very good. We will have that footage momentarily. I do also want to talk about the facts of life and the importance of that also as a safety net.
Oh, sure. The Files for Life, great program. What we do is we've got, it's a little red pouch with a magnet on the back, and it just goes on your refrigerator. And first responders are trained, if they were to come to your house, if there was a medical emergency, they look for that red Files of Life. And inside is your name, your blood type, your primary care physician, emergency contact family member, any allergies you may have to medicine, any recent surgeries or implants, basically all this pertinent medical information in one neat little pouch. And that File for Life, again, free program, goes right in the refrigerator. That's so important. And it ties in nicely with another program, which I know you and I have talked about in the past, the Yellow Dot program. Again, all that pertinent medical information, but now it's in your glove box. So if you're out as the driver, the operator, or passenger in your motor vehicle, there's a yellow dot on the driver's side rear window that EMS, police, fire are trained. It's a national program. They look for that yellow dot on the windshield. That alerts them that in the glove box is all of that important medical information. So and it has your picture too, Mark. So you might be driving the vehicle, you might be a passenger, but now those that are treating you, if you're rendered unconscious, God forbid, in a car accident, they can go to the glove box, get that information, and know exactly, what your medical history is. And if you're supposed to get a daily dosage of a particular medicine, how much dosage should you get, how often? who to contact in your family, the primary care physician to get in touch with. Again, it's just, these are free programs, and we encourage them. We can't wait to get back out to the councils on aging and interact with our seniors, because they're terrific and they really love these programs. But at least the Are You OK program they can sign up for now from the comfort of their home while they're doing their self-quarantine.
Right, and I like the fact that you mentioned that they are free programs, because
Absolutely free.
Often folks will sign up for something they need to pay for.
That's right. Actually, the Life Alert is a great program, but you pay for that. And one of the women that we saved, she couldn't press the button because, again, one arm was trapped and the other wrist was broken. So if not for the Are You OK program calling, we don't know what would have happened. We had a woman in Stoughton the other day where she just said, I just don't feel right. I feel dizzy. And we said, would you like us to send an ambulance? Do you want us to call your family? And she said yes to both. So we had an ambulance there and contacted her family, and she was doing okay. I believe she was dehydrated, so she was on IV fluids, and she came around. But with this COVID-19 crisis, it really does make you stop and think about your priorities and what's so important. And I know my own mom is 93 years old. Thank God she lives at home with my sister, who's taking great care of her. But she looks forward to the kids, the grandkids, calling her at least twice a day.
Sure.
And thank God with technology now they can FaceTime. But grandparents and grandkids, they miss each other dearly. One of my nephews, he lives in Walpole. His two little guys wanted to hug the TV when they saw, through FaceTime. They wanted to hug the computer screen because I couldn't get at my sister and her husband. So it's tough. This social distancing is it's really stressful for folks, and it does cause anxiety and depression. So what we ask everybody is just take really good care of yourself. This is the time to do some good self-care. Get proper sleep. Take your vitamins. Keep your immune system strong during this time. And while you're home, try not to dwell. Certainly you should watch the news to stay informed, but try not to dwell on it to the point where you yourself are falling into a depression, right? We need people to stay positive, right? Tough times don't last. Tough people do. We're going to get through this. There are other programs, not just for seniors. We have a leadership academy, which is very popular with our young people. And we're optimistic that we will be able to pull this off in the summer. We had a great bunch of kids last year where we had college-age students being the mentors, if you will, and we had the campers down in Braintree. We had just found another spot in Franklin, Mass, in partnership with Dean College. So we were going to replicate the camp. And right when this COVID-19 crisis hit, we were about to start the registration. So we did open up the lines. Obviously we'll give refunds if people do sign up. It's only about $150 per camper for your children, and it's a great week where they learn team building and some self-esteem building and anti-bullying programs. And the fun part is they get to do a ropes obstacle course, which all the kids love. So it's a week. It's not an overnight camp. And then at the end of the week, we throw a pizza party, and every camper gets a certificate that they graduated. And parents and grandparents come, and it's really a nice program. Hopefully, Mark, we will be able to pull that off this summer. And one thing I will say is at the end of each week, I go and I give a quick talk to the kids, and then the parents and grandparents will approach me and they'll say the best thing that happened this week, besides making new friends from my child, was the anti-bullying piece. It's still a very prevalent problem in our society, and I think, Mark, with all the smartphones, the bullying doesn't end at the end of the school bell. When the
it took on a different face.
It just goes on, and kids pile on, and they post nasty things on social media and really pick on kids. So, we adults have to do everything we can. And that's why I like to get out to the schools and talk to the kids about anti-bullying. But that leadership camp really helps.
As you had said, really, it took on a new face. Bullying with the social media, it almost adapted to social media, unfortunately. But it's great to hear that you have programs in place to combat that. Yeah. I'd like to end with talking about your staff and involvement in the Meals on Wheels program.
Oh, sure. So Meals on Wheels is something I've participated in for years, going back when I was the state director for U.S. Senator Scott Brown. We got Scott out there with his truck, and we delivered meals. So we have relationships there, and we were helping last year with Meals on Wheels, and then suddenly when the stay-at-home advisory hit, a lot of their volunteers and workers said, we're not going to deliver the meals. So there was a little bit of a crisis for Meals on Wheels, and they turned to us at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office, and immediately both my unions, the officers, as well as administrative staff stepped up and said, we'll do it. So we made sure people had masks and gloves, but we got out there to our seniors, many of whom are our veterans, and this is really their only source of food for some folks. And we've been partnering with Meals on Wheels for the last couple of weeks. So we're going to keep on doing it as long as we can, and making sure that those people are getting the nutrition they need. So it's great. I'm very proud of everybody at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office. They've stepped up in a time of crisis. Very nice.
As we close, I'd like to let folks know about the online access to your office. If you could give out the website for folks, a lot of the information that we talked about is on that site as well.
Absolutely. It's www.norfolksheriff.com. And they can check us out. And if they ever want to email me directly, it's the letter J, McDermott, McDermott, at norfolksheriffma.org. But for the website, it's norfolksheriff.com. And they can find us that way as well.
Any closing thoughts before we sign off?
If folks, if they need anything, reach out to us. We're working really well with the 28 police chiefs in Norfolk County. You are safe. You're going to be well looked after. We're in this together. We'll get through it together. And better days are ahead.
Thank you once again for joining me and getting the message out there.
Thank you. Stay healthy, Mark. Thank you.
You too.
Thanks.
I want to thank you at home for watching. You have been watching In the Know, a program of Quincy Access Television. Please stay safe and continue to watch Quincy Access TV for more locally produced programming.
I come in, I get the program up and running. I listen to and monitor all the calls that go out every day. I call and check on people that haven't been on the program for a couple of, for a time. And I set up speaking arrangements. I set up presentations for the program. I go out and speak on the program to let people know that it's available to them. When I am out speaking on the program, or especially every weekend, Fallon watches the program. I work Monday through Friday, and Fallon covers the program on weekends, which is great because Fallon has that, they're all emergency response people. They can tell medical conditions and things like that, and they have their own dispatch program here. So they can, if they have to dispatch an ambulance to someone who's not doing well, they can follow through all the way to make sure that they're okay. I get here about 5:30, and what I first do is I listen to the messages of people that say they won't be home for their daily call. Then I take them out of the computer. I just make sure that both the computers are up and running, okay? There's no problems. And then at 6 o'clock the calls start, and I just monitor the calls from 6 until 12 noon.
Good morning. This is Officer Cheryl from the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office. Are you okay?
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Good morning. This is Officer Cheryl from the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office. Are you okay?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
So each call takes about 24 seconds. If you don't answer the first time, it will call you back. If you don't answer it for the second time, it will issue an alert, and that way it will tell us who to contact in case, there's something wrong. If someone says they are not okay or they don't sound great to me, then I will call them right back on the landline and ask them what's going on and try to figure out how we're going to fix the situation to make everything okay or see what's going on with them. I think that the sheriff's office, they don't only maintain, the safety and security of people where they house the inmates. They also do the great programs for the kids, and this is just another program that maintains the safety and security of seniors, to make sure that their well-being. So the sheriff's office doesn't just mainly deal with inmates. It deals with children, and it also deals with seniors. So I think it covers a broad spectrum.